What's happening, guys, and welcome back to another early access roundup. So we've got 3 more games to do today, and we're going to be diving right in. Alright, so let's start it off with the Culling. This is a Hunger Games-inspired online brawler. You have 2 modes to pick from primarily. You have playing alone or with a partner. Now bear in mind, if you play alone, you cannot team up with anyone, even if there's like a mutual agreement, like, hey, I want to attack you. That's still considered being a partner, and you can get banned from that for that. But anyway, so you spawn in a randomly generated world with a bunch of other players, and the whole goal is to pretty much just kill everyone. It's great. It's murder. So there are all kinds of little things in the world to interact with. I really like all the pickups and the power-ups. So you can go around and you can find like rocks and branches, and you can craft them into bows and axes and all kinds of cool stuff. And what you can also do is you can sell those things to these vendors, because again, it's kind of like the Hunger Games, so there are people watching you. There are these things that are set up. So there are these gas canisters that you can activate that'll gas an area, and it's very good for escaping other players that are pursuing you. And there's, all kinds of trees, there's all kinds of areas you can take cover in, there's bridges. There's a lot to the environments. Even though they're randomly generated, they are very detailed. So what I also like is that you can find items in the environment and you can sell them for points, and then you can use those points to unlock, again, some of these background things, like, for example, a chest. So there are like chests scattered throughout, and you need 50 points to unlock them. You open it up, you get a higher tier item. It's not like you're getting a gun and then you can start shooting people who are throwing rocks at you. And yes, you can go from rocks to like assault weapons, but that's very far in the game. There's like it's all about a rush. It reminds me a lot of Kirby Air Ride, and it's the city trial area in which everyone's powering up and getting items and messing with each other in order to fight to do the next challenge, which could be a race or a boss fight. Only here, though, it's really just to fight each other, and you only have 1 life. So when you die, you're done. And depending on how far you get and how long you live, you get cosmetic items, which thankfully they're not selling as DLC yet. I don't know if they will be, but that is cool. There is a bit of a reward at the end of it. And there is a lot. Now, like, getting these items, unfortunately, I wish that where it was, like, you could add cosmetic stuff, I wish that was the end of it. There's perks in this game, and I think this should be honestly removed, even though there is a purpose to it. So you can get perks and add them to your character before the game starts. Now, the game is, of course, randomly generated. You're not going to know what you're going to get, but you can get 3 perks, let's say, that are all based on using axes. So they'll give you bonuses from swinging an axe, but you might not never get an axe. And the problem is that someone else might. So one-on-one, axe versus axe, or sorry, club with axe perks versus axe guy with axe perks is going to crush you. The guy with the axe is going to absolutely crush you, usually, unless you have a partner or you have like the right abilities, or you have like a trick up your sleeve. But basically, you're not going to win, and that can be a little bit frustrating. And it's a really fun game, I feel, but the biggest problems right now are optimization and combat. So the combat is very clunky, and if they fixed up the netcode a little bit more, it's playable, but it needs to be a lot better for it to be, what I consider acceptable for a final release, even though it is early access. That's what we're talking about here. It can be very finicky, so if they fix the optimization and the netcode, like, performance in this game is pretty bad, actually. You need a really high-end rig. Right now, what you're seeing here, this is on like medium settings, medium-low. Before this update, recently, I had everything near high, and it looked great. Now, everything's just dropped heavily. It's on Unreal Engine 4, so that's kind of why, but it shouldn't be running that bad regardless. So yeah, if you have a beastly rig, it's not too bad, but you will be dealing with some low-res graphics, and your computer is going to be producing a lot of heat. But I do feel like this is a really interesting game. It has a lot of cool ideas, and it's doing it a lot better than the other games on the market, like the H1Z1's new Arena, and I think DayZ is going to do something like that with PvP. Those games have broken a lot of promises, and unfortunately, I can't really say this one won't, because like a lot of early access games, it's becoming a problem. But I do see the potential here. It is a decent amount of fun with a partner, and I think it's on its way to becoming something interesting and unique and good. It's only like $15, but all the technical issues are holding it back right now, which is pretty standard for a lot of survival games, although this one does feel a little bit more complete in the gameplay area. They just need to fix the combat. Alright, so the next game we're going to be looking at here is Portal Knights, and this is actually a really cool game. Now, on the surface it looks like a Minecraft clone, but it actually isn't. It's got a lot of elements from Minecraft and Terraria that make something unique, and the problem with that is that even though it's unique, and I do like the game, it suffers from wanting to do one particular thing well. So Terraria did crafting and combat really well. Minecraft was all about the sandbox exploration experience. It's, you know, opens up your imagination, just like crafting and building. So Minecraft, building and exploring. Terraria, crafting and combat. Here, it's a little bit of a mixture of everything, but it's not picking one thing and doing one thing extremely well. Although it is still in early access again. So, like Terraria, you have boss fights, you have a decent amount of weapons, and you have a kind of an interesting combat system. You have a lock-on system with some dodge rolling. But unlike Terraria, you don't have all the weapons and all the bosses that you can have there. And then there's Minecraft, which this game has a different way of how it handles the exploration. So in Minecraft, you can just go on forever, right? You can just keep going and the world will keep generated. Here, it's a little different. You have biomes, and each biome is segmented via portals. So you start in a grassy biome for the tutorial, which, by the way, is great. And the UI is actually really nice. They just added an update for controller support, so you can use that and, you know, play it in big picture mode, whatever, on your big TV. So that's cool. But actually, when you think about it, that came out with controller support way quicker than Minecraft did. But anyway. So the thing is that you have these disjointed areas, and you have your sand biome, your grassy biome, your rocky biome, and unfortunately, they lack a little bit of style. And some of these areas are just downright boring. They don't have the exploration that Minecraft has, where you just kind of want to keep going forward and see what you can find, and then try to find where you were at the beginning, where you find your base. So yeah, the levels are a little small in that regard, so it kind of kills the exploration. So I want this game to figure out, if it's not going to be primarily exploration, even though there is a lot of biomes, if it's not going to be primarily combat, even though there are some bosses and there are some cool enemies, I want it to find what it's going to do very well within all of this stuff. You can't just be a jack of all trades. You have to pick something and be very good at it, so people will keep coming back to it. People keep coming back for Minecraft for the exploring. People keep coming back to Terraria for the new updates where they're fighting new bosses. And the thing is, Minecraft is able to be played so much because of that exploration. Terraria not so much, but every time there's a new update, everyone just zerg rushes that game and plays through it and tries to do all the cool stuff and find all the cool items. And here, there's a problem with that. Now, I may suggest survival. It doesn't have anything like that yet. It just added a snow biome, but there's not really any water. There's no lakes or anything like that. So, again, it is very much incomplete in the world side, so I'd love to see more interesting worlds. That is definitely a thing that's probably going to happen. I mean, a game like this without water is kind of weird. But I would like to see either better combat or more survival or a little bit of both. It could do a lot of things, and it could give you options like Minecraft, where you can just have like the exploration and building aspect, or just the raw crafting aspect. Well, I'd love to see more from this game. It's only $15, and it's got online play. It's looking pretty good so far. I do wish, though, it had a little bit more focus. Alright, so our final game for today is BattleSouls, and this game is in very early development, so I wouldn't be surprised if they added a lot more, fix a lot of the problems within the next few months. So, when you think of a MOBA, what do you think of? Well, probably League of Legends, Heroes of the Storm, or Dota. And this game kind of fits the description, even though a lot of games technically do. Multiplayer online battle arena is the dumbest way of defining a genre I've ever heard. Because, multiplayer online battle arena, that's almost anything. But anyway, so what's cool about this game is that you have a very small map, even though I do have a problem with that a little later, but you have this small map that you run around it, and you can collect power-ups, and you actually have 2 different attacks, and you can switch between classes on the fly, which is interesting. No other game really does that I know of. That's like, like Dota, so you lock in a character, and then you're stuck playing with that character. Here, you switch on the fly, so you can have a melee hero, you can have one that casts spells, like a range, and then you can have like a guy that's like a variant between the two, like a melee and a ranged hybrid. It's kind of interesting, and what's cool is that they are doing aggressive microtransaction DLC. Although there is microtransactions, it's a lot of cosmetic stuff. So that's alright. They're not locking off heroes, it seems. And it looks to be a decent game later on. The problem is right now is there's only really one map, and it's very small. It's very easy to go around the entire map. You can go around, you can reach the end of the map within seconds. And the problem with that is that when you die, like the respawns are not long enough, so you have this stalemate when you have like even teams, and there are bots, but when you have even teams, it's very hard to like keep a point captured. Like by the time you're at the next point, the enemy team is already at the point you just captured, and it just goes into this endless loop. It reminds me of Tol Barad from World of Warcraft, whereby, at least in that game, if people were coordinating and defending properly, you can hold it off. But here, the map is just so small that it's very hard to keep these points that you capture. Now, they're adding some cool things like power-ups, and I want this game to be, this is what I want, to be more casual and with some competitiveness in it. Heroes of the Storm try to make a casual game, but because it's so close to like League of Legends and Dota, it's very hard to make a casual game that doesn't make you scream at the other teammates, because WoW is a very casual game in a way. It used to be very competitive. It used to be a game that you have to put a lot of hours into. Now anyone can pick up and play it, and the problem with that is you have a lot of people who just kind of don't care. Like, they'll play the game and not follow instructions. They'll not play as a team. They'll just want to turn their brain off, and that's a problem, because some of these games can last a bit and you want to get your points, and it's very frustrating to lose when they're not listening to you. It's all about teamwork. This, I can see the lone running gunner, the lone wolf, doing some cool stuff, like coming out of battle, getting a power-up, and then running back in. I do see coordination still working. I would love to see a more emphasis on casual play with a competitiveness second, because we have way too many MOBAs that take themselves seriously, intentional or not. But I think this game could be cool in the long run. I just hope that they add a lot more content and take a lot of the feedback. Currently, there's a lot of issues with lag. Although optimization is good, there's not much to look at. It's a very, excuse me for saying, kind of dull-looking game, and there's not much to it. I do hope that they add more stuff, though, and I do look forward to seeing what they're going to offer within the next few months. Apparently, they're going to be adding a lot more content soon. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time. I'm out.